Hey guys, well today I have another Bath Avenue story for you. I'm gonna go back in time when I was young, maybe 12 years old, long time ago. Now back in the day, in my neighborhood, Bath Avenue, Bay 16th Street, Anthony Sparrow, Frankie the Chico were two of the main guys on my avenue. Frankie the Chico was number one, and Anthony Sparrow was number two. They both came from two different crime families. Frankie the Chico came from the Gambino crime family, and Anthony Sparrow came from the Bonanno crime family. Now, when I was growing up, my friend, little Georgie Adamo, had two godfathers. He was baptized by Eddie Lino. Eddie Lino was a member of the Gambino crime family. And Anthony Sparrow, he was baptized when he did his confirmation. So that was his godfather for confirmation. Now, by him having two godfathers in two different families, at the time growing up, we always thought Georgie would be one of the most youngest guys ever to get made or to get straightened out. But that route never happened. Now, growing up, my childhood was great. I had a great childhood. I had a good bunch of friends. Fabrizio lived on the first floor of my building. I was on the third floor. Georgie lived on 18th Avenue. Fat Albert was around the corner on Bath Avenue between Bay 16th and 17th Avenue. You had Damien on 17th Avenue. John Padone lived on 17th Avenue. Now, I'm mentioning all the original Bath Avenue kids. I'm on Bath Avenue all my life. So I'm not going to mention any fly-by-nights that came later on Bath Avenue, because everything I say is fact. And all the guys know it, the guys that were 10 years older than me, and all the old-timers that were around at that time. Now, growing up, we got to go swimming in Frankie the Chico's pool and go to his house a couple times. But one of the greatest moments of the year growing up was the 4th of July. Now, every 4th of July, Anthony Sparrow and Frankie the Chico would put on a fireworks show. There would be all kinds of barbecues in front of the clubs. There would be garbage cans filled with bottles of water, cans of soda. Not sure if the water was out then, but bottles of soda, all kinds of goodies, snacks, food. They used to get catering and leave it outside, and there'd be a little fire over it. They had every kind of display there was. The 4th of July was huge in my neighborhood. Anthony Sparrow and Frankie the Chico would put on the best show ever in the 5 boroughs, and they were known for that. They say later on, John Gotti used to do the same, but nothing compared to what Anthony Sparrow and Frankie the Chico did. I'm talking about blowing up the whole block. They would throw cases and cases of cases all on top of each other with gasoline. And then they would have the mortars filled in the middle of the street. And there would be these big strings on the mortars. And me and little Georgie Adamo and Albert Slavin would light them, and they would go off. And they would light up the sky. They put on a show better than Macy's put on a show at that time. And all the firecrackers would be in the middle of the street with gasoline, and there'd be a big fire. Oof. And it would hit the top of the building, the fire. It was insane, the fireworks show that they used to display for all the people in the neighborhood. and all the food. 4th of July was a great day for us growing up. We had so much fun. Those were back in the days. Now, we also sold fireworks for Joe Butch back in the day, down on Canal Street. Now, at one time, selling fireworks was not a felony. It's a felony today, but back in the day, it wasn't. We used to go on Canal Street and Center Street, and we would go fireworks, firecrackers, fireworks, firecrackers. And this is what we used to do on the corners. And there was a kid by the name of Kevin Oikento we used to drive in with. Alfredo had a piece of it, Temporino. And these kids from Jersey and from New York City would all come and buy fireworks off of us. And we would have a list of fireworks, and they would read down the list of what they wanted. They would circle it, and we would go to the stash house of where we hid these fireworks, and we would get everything, put it in a bag, and come back to where they were. No one was ever allowed to come to the firework stash, wherever they hid the fireworks. Only us who sold them. But these are the great times growing up that we had back in the day. They were really great times, fun times, times that you'll never see again. Now, also growing up in the social clubs, you had all these guys. Now, I remember back at this time, Paulie Zach and Patty Boxcars was sitting in the social club playing pinochle. Now, we're standing in front of Nick's candy store, me and my friends, and we see this strange looking guy. He's like wobbling down the block, and he goes right into the social club. As he goes into the social club, he stabs Patty Boxcars in the chest with a screwdriver. Now, Patty Boxcars was a wise guy with the Banana Crew. Eventually, he made his son, Petey Boxcars, and he was a firework connection. He would always go to Pennsylvania and bring back all the fireworks, and he used to sell fireworks. Back in the day, the wise guys had plenty of ways of making money, and fireworks was a big one around the 4th of July. They would start selling fireworks 3-4 months before the 4th of July. They would make millions of dollars. Now, as this guy stabs Patty Boxcars in the chest, Patty Boxcars comes stumbling out. As he's coming stumbling out, Paulie Zach is behind him with the guy hitting Patty Boxcars with the screwdriver, stabbing him. Paulie Zach grabs a chair and hits him in the back, boom. And he keeps on hitting him, boom. Now, Paulie Zach was an old-time wise guy from the 1950s. He was straightened out with the Gambinos. He was a Mad Hatter, class act, always had slacks on, big collar shirt, James Cagney looking face, polite, loved all the women in the neighborhood, loved all the kids, always would give us a $10 bill, a $20 bill. He'd make us go to Joe's Bakery on 17th Avenue, get him some Italian bread, some French bread. And these guys are the guys that stand out in my mind, because these guys were special guys. They weren't just regular guys. They were special because they held some kind of clout, and they stood for that life, not what the life is today. But those are some memories I have back in the day. Georgie Adamo, growing up, we had our own little crew of kids, and we would go walking down to other neighborhoods and get into mischief. If you fought one of us, you had to fight all of us. Now, there's so much to my story that I have to tell. Well, I have to go on and talk about also a guy by the name of Bobby the Chico. Now, at this time growing up, we were also working with Mikey Scars de Leonardo. He was picking us up at my house, and we would drive with him to the Castellanos Western Beef in New Jersey, East Orange, or sometimes Metropolitan Avenue. We worked in a couple of those locations, and Michael first owned his own place, and then when he sold it, he started working for the Castellanos, and they would give him $1,000 a week. It's not a lot of money today, or it might be a lot of money today to you, but back then it was a lot of money. And Michael was eventually with Paulie Zach. Later on, he was released and he got straightened out. I went to Michael's wedding, but just getting to the point of back in those days were the best times growing up. We had our little crew of kids. We would go to the park. We would climb trees, go on rooftops. We would have fist fights with other kids. And the times are great. They would call their father or their mother, and they would come to the club and tell Sparrow that we jumped them or we hit their son, something like that. Or even their father was a wise guy too, and there would be a sit down of us hitting their son and not to do it again. There's a couple kids in the neighborhood I'm gonna mention along the way. Their fathers were wise guys, and I'm not giving no one a pass. I'm gonna say it the way it is, and there's all truth in me. I have nothing to gain from this. This is my platform of telling the truth and giving you a story of how I grew up. I'm not gonna talk about anything that is false. It's all truth, and I have nothing to lie about. So I just want you to all to understand that. But back in the day, those were great times. Little Georgie, he would wear a pea cap. At the age of 12 years old, he was smoking a cigarette. He was really the leader of our crew, Georgie Adamo, until later on he got hooked on drugs. And there's such a long story to tell. How it unfolds is basically the beginning of what I told you, of all these murders. That's how everything unfolds. But I didn't tell you the beginning of these stories. And these stories have a lot of weight that I want to let you know what basically went on growing up. The reason why we shot at Mikey Hamster, he was a bully. He was bullying me and all my friends. He had a fist fight with Tommy Reynolds. He put little Georgie in a concussion. He was around the Chicos, and he thought he could do anything he wanted. He was not a nice kid. He was a bully. So these are the things I have to let out and tell everyone the story of growing up on Bath Avenue. So look forward to this. There's a lot more to come. These are just little things in the chapters of my life, and there's many chapters. I thank you for this platform. Thanks for supporting me. I have a few haters out there because they don't want me to tell the truth. So they want to silence me. No one's going to silence me. I'm going to tell the truth the way it is. And that's my superpower. My superpower is I don't give a fuck. I'm going to go out with a bang. And I'm laying all the cards on the table. I came forward. I'm not a part of that life no more, but my story will be told. With that said, look forward to the next story. But back in the day, the fireworks shows were the best in my neighborhood. Thanks for your support. I love every one of you guys. There's maybe a couple of years I really don't like, and I'm going to be honest with you. But the people that support me, I love you very much for your support, giving me strength, and following me. Thank you so much. I am going to eventually toss out some t-shirts for free to some of you people, not all of you, because I did pay for them. And I'm not looking to make a buck over here. That's all bullshit. It's not me. Money really never meant nothing to me in my life. As fast as I got it, I spent it. But today I did put in 8 hours of work. I worked time and a half today. I made a good $1. You know, these people think they know so much about me. They don't know nothing, because I don't volunteer that information. With that said, I'm going to put out another video tomorrow, so look forward to it. And it's going to be a nice story about growing up on Bath Avenue. It might even be about the Bickelman murder. It might even be about Paulie G, him shooting some kid Ronnie Bear in the chest about 8 times, and the kid lived. There's so many more stories to come, so look forward to it. And thank you so much for chumming in. Love you guys. See you soon. Bye.